Honey, come to sleep, please. What the hell did I get into?
Where's my pen?
It's in my bag. Welcome back to Notes to Young People. In previous episodes, we've spoken about dating tips and how to find love. Today, we're going to talk about how to maintain a relationship. And today, I have two new guests. I have Nadia, my niece, and her husband, Mikey, or Michael is his name. And returning is Glenn, my son, and Joni, my daughter. Mia, she's doing all the camera work. So we're going to talk about, how do you maintain a relationship? I'm going to begin to say, for me, I've been married for 20 years. So most of my relationships have lasted. I'm lucky, I guess. But I also want to say there's a reason. I've always treated people the way I want to be treated. So I think maybe that's a reason for my success. I'm not sure. And I want to make sure to tell you that we're not experts, we're not relationship experts, but we're just sharing our experiences with you so that, when you find yourself in a relationship, you'll be able to use what we say today to maybe help guide you. The thing that I believe made me successful is that I treated my partners the way I want to be treated. For example, if we went out on a date, I wouldn't flirt with anybody else. If we went out, it's us, just the two of us, because I know I do not want that to happen to me. So that's my mantra or my motto. Just treat people the way I want to be treated.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, well, my situation is different because Mikey's my first relationship. And I grew up in church, so the same thing you said, treat others the way you would like to be treated. That's also how I treat other people. So if I don't want you to do certain things, I won't do them. And in a relationship, you have to not only treat people the way you want to be treated, but sometimes you have to treat them a little better than how you treat yourself. Because what your standard and their standard is two different things. So you have to keep that in mind.
I think you're talking about like a love language.
Yeah.
The way they want to be shown that they're loved may be different than the way you want to be shown.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes. Sometimes people want to be left alone, that kind of way.
And you may not want to be left alone.
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
So you have
Got
to
it.
first you have to feel them out as well.
Okay.
That's my little 2 cents.
Doing fun things together that you enjoy.
Also, because I also believe that you should have something that you enjoy doing together. Like I noticed you guys, you love music,
Yeah.
so that's like your bond.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of have to like find out, okay, what do we have in common? What is it that we like to do? And then you have that connection.
Not only that is good as well, but also you find out your partner's interests and you try to have an interest as well in it. Like for instance, Mikey, he loves sports. So I used to listen to First Take with him in the beginning. I didn't listen willingly,
Okay.
But eventually I would listen and I can have a conversation with him that is current. Not right now, not presently, in the past, yes, because I haven't listened to First Take in a while. One thing also, he liked anime, which is Japanese cartoons. So I used to make fun of him at first, but then I started watching as well, and it was really interesting. So now those are things that we have in common that grew in our relationship. It wasn't like straight off the bat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically what you all said is true, Also another thing too is for me personally, having a friendship with the person, understanding the person, because we all can get in a relationship, but we don't understand each other when you're in the relationship.
Okay.
You know what I mean? With me and Nadia, at first, I used to tell her, one day, we're gonna be together, and she used to make fun of me and say, it not gonna happen, not gonna happen, and I eventually started talking to her and find out her dislikes, what she likes, because at the time we were going to church and
Oh, so
getting
you
to-
became her friend.
yeah.
Okay.
So for me personally, I believe in a relationship that you should be friends with a person,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because they want to have somebody they can talk to and express themselves and not feel as if they're going to be judged. Because you can talk to a friend and tell a friend, certain things, and they're not going to judge you, really. They'll listen and give you advice. And I guess that's a good way, But how do you, as you said, you spoke to her and found out what her likes and dislikes were.
Yeah.
So you developed that friendship.
Yeah.
And then you eased her. You're like, you were sneaky.
I won't say sneaky, I was just making sure that,
Did you know what you were doing though? That
At the
you
time?
that was the end result, that eventually you're gonna get her to like you.
yeah.
See, that's smart. Okay.
Yeah.
And then eventually in marriage, because when you get married now, you're living with that person, it's a whole another
Yeah, it's a whole different story.
it's another situation. So to me, you have to learn to, what's the word, compromise.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be a lot of compromising in a relationship, and sometimes you don't always agree, but you always try to find a middle ground,
Mhm.
in a relationship.
Yeah. So how do you're in a relationship with your significant other, I will not call names, and how do you maintain? What do you do on a regular basis that will help maintain your relationship?
Doing things that we enjoy together.
Mhm.
Like he likes going. He likes going to a driving range.
Is that something you like to do?
I didn't at first, but now I do.
Yeah.
Well, not that I didn't like it, but I went with him, and then I started to like it. Like shows that we like watching together,
Yeah.
and also like having time apart too.
Yeah, that I find that that's very important. I think
Yeah.
I've heard of a lot of relationships where people want to spend, when you're in a relationship and you're in love with the person, you want to spend every single moment with that person. But that's not good. I think you have to have time apart
Yes.
to get to miss that person. Really?
Yeah, I know.
Because if if you're spending every day and and then if that person has to go to work and you're not, especially even going to work, and then you come home and you meet up again, that's some time apart too. But if you're with each other every day, maybe you should say, okay, I have a friend, a girlfriend, a male friend, or if you're a male, not a male friend with a female. Yeah, you have a male friend, you go do guys' night or whatever, and then you come back home at a reasonable time. So as I said, treat each other the way you would like to be treated. And there's something else I wanted to bring up, is the fact that sometimes when we're in relationship, we expect the other person to do things, everything to make us happy. For example, we spoke about doing things in common, that we have in common. But sometimes you may want to do something and they don't want to do it. But that shouldn't stop you from doing it by yourself. Because I learned later on in life that nobody's responsible for your happiness.
That's true.
So for example, I like to travel, my significant other does not. It's a bummer. But he's not responsible for my happiness. I don't want him to change in order to please me. And that's not one of my deal breakers. Because one of my deal breakers is if he goes out and having a girl, if he verbally abuses me, physically abuses me, those are the deal breakers. But if I want to go somewhere to another country and he doesn't want to go, I don't really love it, but I'm going to go and enjoy myself. And I'm going to make myself happy. And I may go and I may miss him a little bit, but I'm like, but I still have fun. So nobody is responsible for your happiness. You're responsible for your own happiness.
That's true.
As long as they give you most of what you need, they can't give you everything you need. Most of it is what you should look for. When you think of that person, you're like, you smile. I think that's good enough. If you think of that person and you're depressed, oh my God, then you have a problem.
Something needs to change.
Yeah. So I guess my thing is nobody's responsible for your happiness. Your boyfriend or you may like to do something, they don't like to do that. I mean, some people are fortunate that, like Joni, have grown to like certain things that he likes, and you guys connected. But even if you didn't, that shouldn't be anything against the other person, because you're responsible for you. So you go and do what you like. You go make yourself happy. So that's my take on that.
Agreed.
Maintaining a relationship. Well, for one, I'm not in one right now. So, I can take a guess as to how you could maintain a relationship. Maybe try new things together. That's one way. Try not to make it a cyclical relationship where you're just doing the same things over and over. Because you may like it, right? But
That's a very good idea.
Yeah, but it get monotone.
But it could get monotone, yeah. So
Wow.
maybe switch things up, go to a new restaurant, make a new recipe.
You guys do that though.
Yeah.
Make a new recipe.
Okay.
And I think one good thing is sharing each other's hobbies, because from what I've noticed is that there's a common phrase. I didn't like it at first, but because you start to like it because you're doing it with them, not necessarily because
Yeah.
you may like it the content in its own sandbox. You may like it because you're bonding with them that way, and so you have an emotional attachment to it. So,
That's very
Wow,
good.
what?
Yeah, that was really
I
good.
don't know.
Thank you very much.
One of you're
I
so
was crazy.
philosophical.
How long have each of you been in a relationship with your significant other?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
I've had 2 for the past.
Wait, you should really clarify that one because.
I was married for 20.
Okay.
I have a new relationship that's like 10.
10 years?
Yes.
All right. And so your new relationship, you're not married yet.
No.
And you guys, are you married?
Ooh.
Yeah,
Yes,
these
yeah.
I have
Yeah.
to say.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah,
you
yeah.
didn't really clarify it. So you
Yeah,
guys
we
are
are.
married for how long?
10 years.
10 years? And you guys been together for how long?
Probably 2 years, 2 years and change.
Before you got married?
Yeah.
And Joni, are you married?
No.
And how long have you been with your significant other?
I feel like I'm being interviewed by a police investigation.
Sorry.
We've been together for 4 years.
Okay, so we got 4 years, 12 years, 10 years, and a 20 years of experience.
Yep.
How long do you think that you should wait to know a person before you should get married? Or is there a time limit? When do you know?
That's
Who's gonna answer that?
a tricky question.
I can answer. You want to answer?
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't think there's a time limit. I
Yeah.
think you would know.
Mm-hmm.
You just know.
Mm-hmm. And how do you know?
Okay, I am very big on feelings. So for me, it will just feel right. It will just sound right.
Mm.
So like you say to yourself, I'm going to marry to this person. And this is just my opinion. It shouldn't be like, oh my God, what the hell am I doing? It should be like, yeah, I want to wake up with him. I want to iron his clothes. It sounds silly. It sounds very silly, but I want to cook his meals, Not that I do those things. But yeah, you should feel it.
And the male perspective.
For me personally, just come to an understanding, come to an agreement. I mean, you don't have to just get up one day and say, let's get married, because, there's other things that you have to put in place before you
Mhm.
decide to
Yeah.
just save and just get married. And then give your partner some time to think about it,
Hmm.
and then and then come together and then make a decision.
Oh, so I'm gonna say who proposed? You who thought of it first? I mean,
I did.
okay.
I agree that I don't think there's really a time.
Hmm.
Yeah, I agree with Nadia. You feel it. It's kind of like, ooh, I can see myself with this person forever.
Well, I have to say something when it comes to time. Sometimes you may want to get married, but the situation is not right.
Mm.
It could be like a financial situation where some men want to be in a certain financial situation before they get married, before they propose. For example, for me, like, okay, for my significant other, I believe that, we both live in separate homes. And in order, before we get married, we have to like get rid of the house we live in and then buy a home for us. And that's kind of like, it's tricky. So it's not that you don't want to get married, but the time is not right. The situation is not right. So sometimes you could say you're ready, but you want to be in a certain place before you say, okay, let's get married.
Do you think you should live with your partner before getting married?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, you think
Yeah, I
so?
lived with your father before I got married to him. It's all right.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Is it that important to live together as husband and wife?
Yeah,
To live together as husband and
Yeah.
wife?
What do you
Mom?
mean?
Mom, you were the one to say, "Oh, why can't I keep my own house?" And you
Yes,
keep your
I thought
own
about
house.
that. I thought about
Yeah,
one time.
but-
I thought of I can marry him, but he can live in his house.
Yeah.
And I live
It's
in
like
my
a
house.
perfect-
But it's like, why get married?
That's another question I have. Why?
I could see like separate bedrooms.
I can see that too. I'm
Yeah.
Like,
not
You have
against
your own
that
girly
either.
room.
yeah, like your own quarters.
Yeah, I can
And
see
you
that.
could like still sleep in the same room if you wanted, but like just having a place for yourself
Yes.
in the house when you're not always, so
Mhm.
that you're not always like having to be together.
Yeah, but sleeping in the same room, that's a whole nother story.
Don't do can of worms.
Well, sometimes.
Yeah, it depends on your.
It depends on the kind of person you are.
No, well, yeah. For me, I was gonna say it depends on your religion.
Oh,
It
well,
could-
yes, that's true.
What religion is that least?
Like if you're Christian, Christians don't believe. You should,
Oh, in sleeping separate.
no, sleeping together while you're in a relationship.
Oh.
Like before marriage.
I think in a marriage, having separate bedrooms is a plus
Mhm.
because sometimes the wife wants to read with the lights on,
Mhm.
and the husband wants to go to sleep, and that's a whole argument there.
Mhm.
So if they sleep in two separate rooms, it kind of takes away some of the arguments.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Or maybe if one snores and it keeps you up at night.
Yeah.
Like I snore.
Joni.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, I snore too.
But the funny thing with snoring, like in the beginning on our honeymoon,
Uh-oh.
Explosion.
you don't mind? Okay. So he fell because he was busy. He was getting everything together, and I was just getting pretty. That's all I was doing.
Oh.
So he fell asleep before me, and I'm still nervous. My butterflies are going off the roof. I couldn't sleep. So he's there, and he started to snore. I've never experienced this. And I'm like told myself, what the hell did I get into?
Wait, this is your first time sleeping
Yeah.
alone together?
Yeah. And then
Oh.
our hotel room had a balcony. It was and there were fireworks or something. I took a chair and I sat on the balcony because I could not sleep. But eventually, after
Yeah.
time, it became comforting.
Mhm.
His snore became comforting because I know he's there.
Okay.
Yeah. So after a while, it didn't bother me so much.
Like rain sounds.
Yeah.
I sleep with rain sounds.
Yeah, or like white noise.
Mhm. Yeah.
You said if you have a separate room,
Mhm.
it will stop a lot of arguments. What do you guys argue the most about with your significant other?
with my significant other, he just likes things a certain way.
Like?
I can't even, like, okay, he has this thing in the sink where he puts like soap. He has a dish rag that he keeps all soapy sudsy. So that when he's ready to wash the dishes, he's soapy sudsy. And he wants it kept that way, like the soap in it, like soapy and sudsy. You know, like when we wash dishes, you wash it. Well, no, he wants it kept soapy sudsy.
So you can't rinse it out. You're not allowed
No,
to
you're
rinse
not.
it out.
It shouldn't. I find it convenient that way anyway, but if you do rinse it out, yeah. And he likes if you take something, he wants you to put it right back where you found it. Which is not, it's good.
Yeah.
It's not pretty normal.
I have
in
the
sense of-
opposite issue. He just leaves things all over the place.
Mm.
I was just gonna say, like, if he like takes his jacket off, he'll like just like put it.
Well, he'll do that, but he only has certain things that he's anal about. He has certain issues that, he's like, Denise, you didn't put that thing back. I'm like, oh. You borrowed my nail clipper.
And you didn't
Oh. Like, he has pens. That he does stuff with. Like, if he's taking his blood pressure, he has a pen on the paper, and I'll take the pen and use it. And he's like, "Where's my pen?" I'm like, "It's in my bag." So little things like that. I mean, you can laugh at it, but I think if you live together, maybe it could become a
Yeah, it can become an argument.
Mm-hmm.
I don't necessarily like when people leave the cabinets open.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
No,
and that's a pet
That one
peeve with
doesn't
him
stay
here.
open.
That one
doesn't
goes
stay
back.
closed.
Yes, but that's a pet peeve. He
I
says,
think you missed the magnet alignment.
yeah, he says to me, "Oh, every time I come, when you open the cabinet, you don't put it back." I'm like,
Who's the culprit?
and I'm like, but I was used to, what's the cabinet that you just close?
Oh, the self-closing.
Yes, I'm so used to self-closing that it's
Oh,
not, it doesn't close. So I'm like, and Glennie does that a lot.
What do you do?
Opens up the thing cabinet and just leave it. But we're used to the self-closing. It will close on its own. So I'm telling him, I'm used to self-closing.
Well,
So
these don't self-close.
I'm spoiled. That's why they remain open.
We've been living here for like 7 years.
That's why that's why he
8
says
years?
when he comes here, we leave the
8
cabinets
years.
open. And so I put the magnets, but hey, it didn't work. It doesn't work all the time, but it worked for a while. But people have their little pet peeves, and I can't. That question caught me off guard because I would have thought of a lot of them.
I would say we argue a lot. I would say it's not argument, it's a debate. It's just to find a common ground. But the only thing I would say Daddy will, will have argument about is like, so the TV's in the bedroom, so I usually play game late at night.
Oh,
So when she wants to sleep, the light usually,
Yeah.
So she usually be getting up angry like, turn up again.
I saw a TikTok on that. I saw a TikTok on that woman say, hey, you really up at night doing that?
And then maybe an hour later, honey, come to sleep, please. Or if I'm playing online with guys, she'll like try to say stupid stuff to me here. So I have to eventually like, guys, I gotta call it a night.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any advice about debating with your partner?
Oh.
Healthy debate.
Healthy debates. Okay. Says, honey, or sweetheart, before you say anything, you say, honey, can you please close that toilet? Not shut it.
Please unclog the toilet.
No, close the toilet lid when you're done, sweetheart, honey bun, sugar plum. That always eases up everything. Just say, honey, sweetheart, before you ask for anything. That helps. Don't just say, do that. So don't just say, shut the door. Honey, can you please shut that door?
That you left open?
What?
That you left open?
No, it's okay. It's not about that. It's about getting along with your partner. So it's not about blaming or anything like that. Now, if your partner, that's another thing though, we're getting off topic, but if your partner is doing something that you don't like, there are ways to like compliment him when he's doing the opposite of that.
Oh, positive reinforcement.
Yes, it's like saying, if he closes the door, you say, oh, thank you very much for closing that door. If he usually leaves it open. So you kind of, when he does the right thing, you compliment him for doing the right thing. So that, eventually the compliments, he would want the compliments. Right?
Yeah.
And he'll close it.
Yeah.
That's one way. Yeah, always do honey, sweetheart, honey bun.
I'll tell you something about that approach.
Mm-hmm.
He knows me well enough that when I say, honey, sweetheart, he knows inside I'm raging.
Oh,
So,
no, but
So-
if you always say honey, if you always say it, you don't know when you're raging or not. So just make it a practice of
Oh, when she's upset, she calls
just
me.
call it. Well, that's
Called me by my first name.
I'll be
Oh.
like, Michael.
Okay. But if you always say honey and sweetheart, and then even when you're not angry, he would know that you're angry because you always say it. So that's my advice. So we're gonna bring this back to maintaining relationship. There's a lot to do, but I would come back to treating people right, treating people to, this probably has nothing to do with that topic. I went to return some bottles the other day, and the machine was broken, but there were people on other machines putting in their bottles or whatever, but mine was broken, so I called the guy from the store. Can you fix this machine for me? He fixes it. And the lady who was on another machine, her machine broke, she jumped on the machine that I asked the guy to fix. And I'm trying to tell her, but I asked the guy to fix it. And she's arguing, saying something to me. And I'm like, she can't have no good relationship. She's not a decent person. You have to be a decent person, heart and soul. You have to be a decent person to everybody. You can't be only good to the people you're in a relationship with. This has to be a universal thing. This has to be something you do to everybody, because your partner is going to eventually see, okay, she's nice to me, she's treating me the way she want to be treated, but she's treating other people like shit. And that is something that they're going to take note of and say, okay, maybe she's not the right person for me. So when I see people like that who don't treat others well, I know they can't have no bliss in their life, because you have to treat everybody, whether or not you're in a relationship with them or not. You have to treat everybody right. And so that's my take on that.
What do you think is the biggest strength in your relationship?
For me, we laugh a lot. We laugh a lot, and it has to be somebody who makes you laugh. Once you're laughing, you're happy. And you guys do it. I listen to you a lot. Yeah, you laugh a lot together. And that's important, that you kind of know each other, and I think you have to know the person somewhat, and you have to find humor in life. And so if you're able to do that together, even with the stock market, my significant other lost a lot of money. And I was laughing, I was telling him, you lost enough money for Antigua ticket. We're gonna go to Antigua with that money. And he laughed. I mean, he lost a lot of money, but he was able to laugh at it. So I guess the thing is to find humor in life together, even when things are not perfect.
You want to give a joke
What's the joke?
about yesterday?
Oh, you gave jokes?
Beat the punch. Yeah, we went to the train. When we went down, we went to another train, and we got sent all the way to Connecticut.
Oh my.
Instead of?
Fordham. Yeah.
Put him in the Bronx.
Then I was mad, but eventually I At least I took a tour.
That's true. At least you. Did you look out the train to see what Connecticut looks like?
Not really. The only place I saw is the.
Yeah, there was like a car dealership with some fancy cars, and he was like, he wanted to go across the street, but I was like, nah.
See, yeah, you have to make fun and make the best of life because life is rough and you can't take everything on. I guess you have to have like what's important to you, and there's certain things in life that you can't control. So whatever is in your control, you better laugh at it. Okay, because they're going to be things that are not in your control, and be thankful that you're not experiencing some of those things.
What is the strength in our relationship?
Giving Nadia's food, getting her food,
Mm-hmm.
and that's her strength.
That's a love language.
He loves her belly.
That's interesting.
Oh my god. Oh, well, I was gonna say one of the things that is our friendship because we were friends before we decided to come together. So we used to, and also music is a very big thing in our relationship. It brought us together because I was learning to play guitar and I was practicing, and there was a band inside the church and they asked me to come and play. I wasn't confident enough to go and play yet because I think I had a lot more to learn, and he was there to assist me learning the songs and that kind of stuff. So we kind of grew together with music. Yes, he used to say things like, "Oh, you're my future wife," and I'll cuss him off and tell him, "No, you can't afford to feed me." I used to say things like that. But then eventually, after a time, I got to see this person, who he really is and how genuine he is in comparison to the other guys that are out there. And I wasn't really looking for a relationship or for a husband or a boyfriend or anything like that. I was just trying to get my life together so I could, live on my own and do my own thing. And because of music and because of our friendship, we kind of got closer and closer together. So, yeah, he wanted me to be his girlfriend and stuff, but he kind of backed away after, I wasn't giving him that much attention in that area. But I was the one, this is true, I was the one who made the first step to being in a relationship.
But you know what? That's kind of like a tactic. In the sense of this. You go after a person, and then you back away. It's like, there's this theory about you want what you can't have.
Yeah.
So, he goes after you, shows interest, so makes you feel special and everything, and then he backs away. And you know what that does? That draws you to him. He's probably psychiatrist. That draws you to him. So now you started going after him. That's a tactic. That's actually a way of getting
in my situation, I would say it's a tactic because
I'm not saying you did it.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that's one way that people get, if they know psychology, that's one way people get people to draw people to them. Yeah.
But for her, when she told me that she didn't want to be in a relationship and whatnot, I said okay, and I just backed away, and then he probably thought I would come back the next day and say, let's be together. So it kind of make her want more in the relationship.
Glennie, what would your ideal relationship look like?
Is it entertaining?
Okay.
It's just us two in a room and nothing else.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be ideal. I don't know if it's realistic.
It is.
What do you mean us two in a room?
So we just enjoy our company.
Oh.
Yeah. I'm stealing that answer.
Hey. Can't do that.
Having the good time together, our friendship. And
okay.
Not taking things too seriously sometimes. Just being silly.
Alright guys, that was part 1. Please like, share, and subscribe, and tune in for part 2 to how to maintain a relationship. Bye!